Hello, this is U.S. Immigration Attorney Sharifa Tharpe. I'm here live to take your U.S. immigration related questions. Put your questions in the comments now so that I may answer your questions. Now, I'm just going to answer questions today, but I do want to keep with the topic here of fixing your immigration status if you are undocumented. A lot of individuals are out there, you may be undocumented and you have no idea how to fix this. And I'd like to be able to answer any questions you may have about it, especially as we see trending right now, state after state implementing legislation that's anti-immigrant legislation. It's meant to target undocumented immigrants, criminalize undocumented immigrants. And because of that, now individuals have to be figuring out a way to try to fix their status. So this is where I say, don't wait. That is what I do. I help clients to fix their immigration status so that they're here in the United States living legally, right? And there's no better feeling than to be able to have the security and safety, and that you are not looking over your shoulder in fear of law enforcement or what's going to happen. So let us take now. We're watching the anti-immigration bill in Georgia. Hasn't passed yet, but we are anticipating that it is going to go to the state Senate. And based on how quickly it passed the House, we think it might pass the Senate, and then the governor is going to sign it into law. So what I always say is, don't sit in ignorance. There are options available, and I have helped clients who have felt that they have no options because of the extent of my experience and legal knowledge. We have been able to find solutions, legal solutions for our clients. So make sure you invest in yourself so that we can talk and figure out some solutions for you. But now I want to focus on your questions. The topic here I have is undocumented. How can you fix that? Because it can be fixed. There are ways to do this, but we need to talk to you because the fix is something we have to, in order to determine whether this fix is going to work, we have to talk to you. I have to evaluate your facts. So I am also working with another attorney. I and another attorney, we work very closely here in the law firm because we are growing and we want to help as many people as possible. So we both evaluate your facts to determine whether there is a solution for you. And we have been able to find that for many individuals. So go ahead, make sure you schedule an appointment. Go to the link in the profile on on Instagram, on TikTok. You'll see the link in the profile. You can schedule your own appointment. You can call. There's staff available to go ahead and help you to schedule your appointment. And you can remember, there is the link to do it yourself. It's very easy. We are filling up, so both my schedule and Attorney Bria's schedule is filling up quickly. So make sure that you secure your spot so that I can talk to you, Attorney Bria can talk to you, and we can figure out some solutions here. All right, so now I'm going to run through questions quickly. So let's go. What's the shortest time to get a green card through marriage? So, there's no shortest time. I've seen it come in as short as 2 months. So as short as 2 months is when I've seen it. So, yeah. Now, those are rare, but it does happen. Can one get marriage green card in 2 months? Yes, that is possible. Any citations mandatory for applying for the EB-1? Citations are not mandatory, but if you do have citations, then it's a good indication, one of the indications of extraordinary ability. but it's not necessarily a requirement. It depends also on what your field of work is. Is it safe to travel to Florida following the new immigration laws? It's going to depend on what your circumstances are. If you're coming here to work, first of all, I would say Florida is not safe for immigrants. Don't take your safety for granted here. It's not safe for immigrants, especially if you've already overstayed your visa or you're here without any kind of status. Florida is not a safe state for immigrants. Um, if and the extent to which you're not safe is going to depend on what your goals are when you travel into the US. So they have already made arrest here, by the way, in Florida. They've arrested someone who was transporting immigrants I believe, in the Tampa area or close to Tampa. They were transporting immigrants in a vehicle, and they now have charged this person with the human smuggling violation because they found that the immigrants didn't have their papers, and their assumption is based on their so-called investigation is that he was coming from out of state with them. And so, with that assumption that he is coming from out of state with the immigrants, they charge them with that, with the felony. I believe it's a felony here in Florida. So, if you're coming here to work, while they don't have any penalties for undocumented immigrants who are working unless you use fake papers to work. What they have done is targeted employers and individuals who are encouraging immigrants to work here in the state. And so, in that respect, you're going to probably find it very hard to find work. And, seeing that I am an attorney that assists uh, victims of labor trafficking, I can tell you right now that there are probably unscrupulous employers who are taking advantage of immigrants, actually taking advantage of this law here, taking advantage of the fear immigrants feel by keeping them in silence, using this law, saying, if you go report me, then guess what? You get into trouble. I get into trouble. So it's not a safe place. It's really not immigrant friendly. If I apply for my asylum work permit and SSN after 120 days, does that mean I have to reapply after 150 days because I had to um yeah, so you're not supposed to apply for the work permit under asylum until 150 days after you filed. So if they deny it because you filed too early, you have to reapply. Good afternoon. If I enter the country on a student visa and got married while studying, how do I go about changing my status? So that's a whole conversation, and that is definitely fit for a scheduled consultation. So go ahead, give me a call. Let's talk, and let's figure that out for you. All right. I'm going to go through, answering all the questions here. So bear with me. I'm going to work to get to everybody's questions. Hi there, Anne Marie. Hi there, Bisa. Hi, Nevada. So I'm going to get to your questions soon. So Nevada says, how can we contact you? And then follows up with, oh, it's going across the screen. Yes. So my number is going across the screen on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitch. So you can call the number there and it's going to schedule the appointment. All right, my EAD application is taking more than 1 year. What can I do? Married to a USC. So you should put in a case inquiry. So I've done that for my clients, and sometimes it is successful. When it has passed the estimated timeline, processing timeline, then you can submit a case inquiry, and that can give them a nudge to process it. Um, just got the #1 gifter badge. Thank you so much for that. I really do appreciate the love. I got combo card approved February 21st. How long will it take to get the physical card? So I'd say 1 to 2 weeks. How long does the work permit take? It can range anywhere from 3 months. I have gotten one in 2 weeks, which was great. But I would say it ranges on average from 3 months, depending on the case type, to 12 months. How long does it take to get a work permit when you file for FAWA? So it can range anywhere from 6 months to 12 months. 601A waiver case transferred after 26 months. What does that mean? So it means they're trying to distribute the workload to get the processing times faster. What is the normal proceeding time frame for asylum case pending at the BIA? So it can be years. Married to USC and work permit is taking more than a year. So I answered that. How long does it take? Does a T visa case work permit take? About 1 year. It can range from 6 months to even 18 months, but on average, I'm seeing 12 months. It'd be 6 months waiting for interviews. Can tell how long I have to wait. So, is it marriage-based into? It depends on what kind of case you're talking about waiting for. Um, if my green card, if my green card, So if you have a green card in any state in the United States, you do have the legal right and lawful status and permission to live here and work here and do everything here. The only thing you can't do is you can't claim US citizenship. You cannot work in certain jobs that require you to be a citizen. You can't put on any paperwork anywhere that you're a US citizen. That is one of the worst things you can do. You cannot register to vote, and you should never vote in any kind of local or federal elections. By doing that, that can bring very harsh consequences. Also, you can't be outside of the United States for a lengthy periods of time. Usually, you can't be outside of the U.S. for 6 months at one time, because they're going to assume you've abandoned your permanent residence. Um, So you paid for the DS-260. How long to wait for the interview? You paid for the DS-260. You have to submit your immigrant visa application. You have to submit your affidavit of support. It depends on what a kind of, by the way, what kind of petition you're filing for. Is it employer based? Is it family based? Is it lottery based? But you may have to make sure you follow up on other required documents that are necessary, and then you wait. And the wait time can range from 1 year to a year and a half after they've confirmed that you've met all the requirements to submit the documents. How long is normal wait time for, I think, VAWA case process? So the entire process takes about 2.5 to 3 years. But keep in mind that the benefit here is you don't go without any immigration benefits during that time. You will have access to, right now, a 5-year work permit. You will, and that is renewable until you get your green card. And you get your social security number along with it. So it can be beneficial in that respect. Can you file for work permits before you can apply for asylum? No, you can't. You have to apply for asylum first. And then after 150 days after filing the asylum, you get your work permit. Now you can apply for the work permit if you qualify for it in other ways. I'm here on J1. I've married for over 20 years. If my American dad petitioned for me, can I adjust status? No. So that process is going to take your dad petitioning for you. That entire process from dad filing to green card is 14 years. And it really is impossible for you to maintain your J1 visa for 14 years. And you do, in your case, as a married married son or daughter of a U.S. citizen, in order to adjust status, you have to meet certain requirements. One, you have to maintain your immigration status for the entire time until filing, and your priority date has to become current first. And the where the priority date has to become current, you have to wait for 14 years. So that just waiting for priority date to become current is 14 years, which means that you can't possibly meet the both of them at one time, because now if you're, say your dad filed for you 14 years ago, and now they're ready to process your priority date is current, you're here in the US on current status, and you are not subject to the 2-year foreign residency requirement. As you can see how complex this analysis is, right? Because remember, the J1 visa sometimes comes with a 2-year foreign residency requirement. If you have the 2-year foreign residency requirement, you still have to go back uh, home for 2 years unless you qualify for a waiver or some exception. As you can see, there is a very detailed analysis behind just this very short fact pattern that you've given me. This is where it's so important to schedule a consultation, because this is the level of in-depth analysis that I have to do while I'm trying to resolve your issue and trying to come up with a solution for you. And in addition to that, I'm asking my own questions as well. Um, can apply for advanced parole while in the green card process. If you're going through adjustment of status, then and you're here in the U.S., you can apply for the advanced parole. All right. How long can you stay in the U.S. and apply for the work permit? Oh boy. So that's not really there's no requirement that you stay in the US for a certain period of time before you can get the work permit. What matters here are your circumstances, your facts, your relationships, whether you have anything that can qualify you to get an immigration benefit or form of relief that also comes with the work permit. So you just staying here in the US is not going to allow you to get the work permit. Very important to understand that. Whether you qualify is where I have to talk to you and get your facts. My mom filed for me, and my son is a derivative. We overstayed, and as such, we had to file an I-601A. The I-601 was approved, but he turned 18, even though the I-130 was approved when he was 15. So guess what? Now, keep in mind, I am not giving personalized legal advice. The information I'm giving you is general information based on the limited facts that you've given me. But in this pattern, and I want you all to perk your ears up here, it's important. Children under immigration, children, including derivatives, like your son being included in the application with you, children are considered under 21 and unmarried. So even though your son turned 18, he still can qualify as a derivative. Now, but here's another issue. Because your son overstayed with you, he turned 18. He turned 18 at the 18 18 years and 6 month mark. He will accrue unlawful presence, and so he will also be barred under unlawful presence for 3 years if he leaves the country. So in this case, if he has reached 18 years and 6 months, then he also has to qualify for an I-601A waiver. So usually in situations like this, what has to happen is he still qualifies as a derivative. But if he has unlawful presence now, he can't leave to go to the interview with you based on your approved I-601. So he has to wait here, and then you would have to then go to, and see, I'm really giving you guys a lot of details here, but don't take this as personalized legal advice. You must make sure you either schedule a consultation or talk to your attorney, because it sounds like if you have an I-601A approved, you need to talk to your attorney. But in a scenario like this, your child who is now 18, and let's assume 18 years and over 6 months, they have to stay here. You get your green card, and then you have to then file for your child. As long as they're under 21 and unmarried, and you're now a green card holder, you would file for your child, and then your child has to apply for an I-601A waiver as well. So unfortunately, it sounds like it's a lot more complex here, because of the fact that he's turned 18. But you can still petition for him, and it won't fall into the 5 to 7 year lengthy process, because he's still under 21. Now, talk to your attorney, or if you would like to, if you don't have an attorney and you want to make sure that you are you know you're looking out for your best interest, you're doing everything correctly, schedule an appointment. When do you receive your notice? After you submit your VAWA application. So I would say it ranges from 2 weeks to sometimes 6 weeks, just depending on how busy they are. I have also seen it take 4 months, where maybe the person applies for a fee waiver. So it depends on what's going on. Can my sister's son, father? So can my sister, son, father file for her if he's incarcerated and be released next year? No, incarceration may be a problem here, for the process. Uh, because if they call an interview, then you're gonna have to put off the interview until your spouse can attend the interview with you. You may just get the interview waived too, because your sister has a child with them. So that's a strong evidence of the bona fides of the marriage. They also have to be married. Um, so, and it also depends on why they were incarcerated. If they have a criminal record, and that charge, that the conviction they have is involved a minor, then that can, they could be prohibited from filing for your sister based on the Adam Walsh Act. So, this is where it's important to schedule an appointment. When do you receive your notice after? So I answered that. I'm here 3 months now and haven't received my green card. So 3 months, that's very rare, and I'd have to figure out how you're applying for the green card. Can a felon file for his wife? Yes, it's possible, but we need the details about what's behind the felony. Can my sister? So I answered that. How long does it take to get approved for I-485 after I-130 is approved? So it can take anywhere from a few months to up to a year. Can my daughter, who has EB3 work permit, green card, file for her daughter? Yes. Thanks for answering my question about Florida. So it's definitely not safe to visit right now. So if you're coming here just to visit, it may not be an issue to visit. If you're coming here to work, you're gonna have a hard time. Coming here for a short visit, and shouldn't be a problem. But I am not telling you that it's safe for you. It also depends on what circumstances you're facing, what are your risk factors. Some people tend to be at a higher risk than others, so I need to find that out as well. Just got my work permit and it said advance parole at the bottom. Can I travel outside of the US? As long as it's a combo card and you do have the advance parole at the bottom, it's usually in the bottom right hand corner of the card, then yes, it's there for you to travel. Now, whether it's safe for you to travel is really going to come down to personalized legal advice. So, for example, when I'm representing my clients, I make sure to advise them based on their risk factors, and that's going to come down to, their facts. All right. Good evening. How long does it take to get a prima facie? I did my application 6 months now. So I'd say 2 months to 6 months is when it's taking. So do you think Georgia Bill 1105 will be approved by Senate, or do you think they might add some changes? They may change. They may make some changes here because the House bill, they first of all they have made it a requirement for law enforcement to check the immigration status, and that means that and if they don't, they can face a misdemeanor. And so I don't know how the Senate is going to look at it. We have to see if they're going to make changes, but there are a lot of requirements now that immigration status be checked, and that can come with harsh consequences if law enforcement does not do that. So we'll see if they change that. But it's a pretty strong bill. If a green card and I-601 waiver was denied 5 years ago because misrepresentation, if you don't have a spouse or an immediate relative, is there another option? Can another child refile for the parent? So I'd have to evaluate your circumstances to see if there's another option. And that's exactly what I do in the consultations is I don't just look at what you've told me, but I look at what I know are the options available that you may not know about. RC prima facie extension, is it a good thing? It's a good thing. It means that there is no bad news, no denials. So it's still a good thing. If you're applying for a T visa, is it possible to still sue the employer? Absolutely. Yes, it is. You have it, you have every right to still seek justice for yourself. And actually, that's one of the purposes of the T visa is to allow you to seek the justice that you deserve. So it's absolutely possible for you to still sue and pursue the T visa all at the same time. It might actually help your case if you're suing them. While many of my clients, they don't wish to sue, they just want to put it past them. While they do go through a process, we do go through a process with our clients. They don't wish to sue the employer. They just want to put it behind them. But others do want to get justice, and they can. Throughout the process. So it is meant for the client to seek justice if they want to, and then also get status here. How can we contact you? So Nevada had asked this before. I'm going to just reiterate. Numbers going across the screen. If you look in the description of the video on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch, you'll see the link to to the link to the link tree where you can access the button to schedule your own appointment, access the website where you can learn about me, the results we've gotten for our clients. And so you can schedule your own appointment or go to the website and then call the office. You can also go to the link on Instagram and TikTok, the profile. So the link in the profile, and you will see Linktree, and you will see ways to contact us, the phone number, and the different tabs as well. So, get in touch with me. One question, when you apply for asylum, can you have a work permit approved during the process of asylum? We just got We just got news. It just came down the pipeline that one of our asylum clients was approved today. So we're getting her 5-year work permit. So yes, absolutely, it can be approved, and it has been approved in 180 days. So they're right on time. As soon as 180 days came, we applied 150 days, 180 days came, they have issued the work permit. So absolutely, that it is there to help while you're seeking the relief that you need. It is there to help to help you settle in while you wait for a decision. If a child was adopted by their grandparents who were living in the U.S., however, the grandparent was filing for a child during the process, grandparent died, is that process void? So in this case, humanitarian reinstatement might be a good option here, but I need to figure out the facts here to determine how to move forward. I'm married to a USC, but he's felon. Can he sponsor me? Yeah, it's possible. But this is where it's very important to schedule an appointment and let's talk about the circumstances involved. My husband's mom is filing for him. He's 28, as I am. That means that the mom is a US citizen, and that means that it is a 14-year process. So married sons or daughters of US citizens, that process is a F3 category, and that process is taking 14 years. Hello, I just did my citizenship interview, but they denied me. They said that they sent me a letter, but I didn't get it. What should you do? Get an attorney. Um, how long does a waiver take for someone without an I-94? So if you're saying you don't have an I-94 because you didn't enter the country legally or with inspection, then it's whether or not you qualify for the waiver. So there's I-601A waiver for issues like that, but there are also waivers, other types of waivers, just depending. Now, when I say waivers, I'm talking about forgiveness for past immigration violations. And the waiver is going to depend on what kind of application you're applying for. For example, the T status, we submit waivers for forgiveness for certain violations as well. And when the T visa is approved at the same, which is about a year in, the waiver is approved at the same time. So my mother filed for my brother and I from 2019. How long do we have to wait for the filing to come through? If you're 21 or over, 5 to 7 years total. Can undocumented immigrant marry a US citizen? Yes, that's possible. It happens all the time. That's one of the things we do is we help clients who marry US citizens. However, whether you can qualify for adjustment of status is going to be dependent on how you enter the country. If you came without inspection or parole, or you came without permission, then adjustment of staying here and getting the green card is not going to be permissible unless you qualify for FAWA, like you're being mistreated by the U.S. citizen. That's an exception. If you came in legally, but you ended up overstaying and falling out of status, and you marry a US citizen and you meet all the other requirements, then adjustment of status is going to be the way here. Do you have to wait for an approval from the NVC to file for the K3? So I don't know what approval that would be. So the K3 is for like the child of the immigrant fiance of a U.S. citizen. So usually you would have NVC doesn't make any decisions here, but they do say whether all the documents are accurate and all the required documents are complete, and then they schedule the appoint the interview. So do you have to wait for the NVC at the point that you're working with the NVC and you've submitted everything? I would say yes, you have to wait for them to provide you confirmation that you submitted everything that they need to schedule the appointment. Good evening. How long does it take to get a prima facie? I did my application 6 months ago, so I answered that. Concerning Georgia, is it safe to have T visa pending in Georgia? How long does T visa take for a decision to be made? So, having a T visa pending does not give you any protections. So, if while you have the T visa pending, you end up having, encountering law enforcement, if this should become law, then that will not prevent law enforcement from still detaining and, referring you to ICE. So, in this respect, it will not provide any protections, but it's better than nothing. Because what happens is if you do have the T visa, then it means it's more likely that you could be released. So if law enforcement detains you, you would be released because you have this pending relief. Um, Now, how long does it take? It can take anywhere from 6 months to up to 18 months, just depending on what questions immigration has. But listen, it is better to pursue your options than not have it at all. Because if you do encounter any kind of law enforcement anywhere in the country, if you encounter ICE, it can be a basis for you to be released, for them to put a halt or not even bring proceedings against you, pending the decision of the USCIS. So it's always best to have and have something pending. I'm married to a US citizen, came to the US last year and currently in Georgia. I have pending I-130 and I-485. I recently got EAD and SSN. What is my status and what to do if I'm pulled over by the police? So I'm glad that you brought this up because right now, you have a valid evidence of your permission to be here. While you do not have official immigration status, you do not have unlawful status. You have the permission through that EAD. You have permission to be here while your process is pending. So you are here legally, you're here lawfully. Once you have that EAD, which is the work permit, you have your SSN and they're valid. They can verify that and see that it is valid. You're good. So you should not have to worry about being detained by police. Of course, that does mean that you have to make sure you travel with your work permit and your social security so that they, understand that you are here lawfully. How long does it take to transfer from J1 to H1B? So it's going to depend on the H1B has a lottery process. You have to go through that process to be able to, and it's pretty predictable between the time you get selected and then the time that they process your paperwork and you're approved. So it can be anywhere from, be around a 6 month range or so. In my I-130, if my I-130 has been approved, can I apply for a work permit? No. Having an approved I-130 alone is not going to get you qualified for a work permit. What gets you qualified for a work permit based on an I-130 is the adjustment of status application and whether you qualify for it. When do you receive your notice after submitting VAWA case? So I answered that. It can be 2 weeks. It could be 2 to 6 weeks, just depending on how busy they are. Thanks, Attorney Sharifa. You're so incredibly in all information about immigration issues. On next month, I'll look for advice. Well, thank you so much. I am looking forward to speaking with you. Is the waiver still in effect? So I'm not sure what waiver you're referring to. When you come through the border and get parole, and then it stops there. So if you have gotten parole, it can give you the ability to apply for a work permit. Can I get a green card without marriage, and how long will it take? It's possible, but it depends on your facts. So schedule a consultation. Hello, please. Should approved I-130 be withdrawn from NVC if my child qualified for CRBA and has gotten the approval for CRBA? So the CR, if now, um, the CRBA, if your child was included, so if you have multiple petitions going on, as long as it doesn't conflict, that petition can sit there. What will happen is whatever benefits your child gets in the future, it will automatically cancel out the other applications that go in. I mean, as I said before, schedule a consultation, because we would need to make sure that I'm understanding your facts correctly to be able to advise, because that's not usually the case for having multiple applications at one time. But, for example, you could have an I-130 pending, and then say you get married and then they file another I-130. You don't have to withdraw the previous I-130 to get approval on the next I-130. So get legal advice. Can I get a green card without marriage? So I answered that. I applied for VAWA, but is there a way to expedite my application? I have 2 children for my husband, plus 3 other children. It's hard to care for my children. He doesn't want me to work. It's so hard. So I understand, and I empathize with you. What I would say here is yes, it is possible. You'd have to submit an expedite request. So when we are submitting a request, we do it because this is VAWA, we have to do it through the hotline, and this is for attorneys. So we submit any kind of evidence to show that our client deserves to have their case expedited, and then we go ahead and submit that, and then at that point it's really up to them to determine whether they're going to expedite it based on what we've provided. Can you renew your green card if citizenship is denied? Yes, that's possible. But get legal advice, because if it's denied, you want to make sure it's not something that's gonna lead to them referring you to immigration court instead. My husband filed I-130 since in 2022, but he hasn't received not a thing. Is that normal? I would say 2022, yeah, that's pushing it. So I've seen 9 months to a little over a year, but sounds like you're approaching about 2 years. So it may not be normal. If your case is over the case processing times at the service center, you can submit a case inquiry. How long does it take for you to get a green card after the fingerprint process? So that's the biometrics. And it's I don't usually count from the biometrics because they're all over the place, and it depends on the case type here. You're welcome. All right, so that's gonna be it for me today. I really enjoyed your questions, as always. One thing I want you to understand here is that finding an option, you're not going to find, while this is helpful, it's informative, the way we do our consultations, we get into a lot more detail about individuals' backgrounds and their circumstances to determine whether you qualify for a legal option to obtain status here, to get your work permit here. And you're not going to find that here on the live. While you'll find helpful information that's going to put you in the right direction, I really want to talk to you about, especially if you're here, you're without status, and you want to figure out a solution to gain security, feel safe, and not have to look over your shoulder. Then talk to me, schedule an appointment, talk to me, or you can talk to Attorney Bria, who is also now on my team. Attorney Bria and I work very closely to evaluate cases, to determine whether it's a case we can take, to assist you to obtain status, because there are a number of ways to fix that other attorneys aren't asking about, and that not a lot of people know about. And we have become very good at finding those solutions. So give us a call, schedule your appointment, and you can also schedule your own appointment by going to the link in the profile. And it's really quick and easy. You'll have access to my calendar, you'll have access to Attorney Bria's calendar, and then you can just book your appointment. And then we can get to talk about your individual solution here. So I'm looking forward to speaking with you. Our schedules are filling up, so please don't hesitate, don't procrastinate here. Uh, the consultations are confidential. I've had individuals tell me things that they have never said to anybody, and because of that, we have been able to find solutions for our clients. So get in touch with us. Let's talk, because as you can see, this is becoming a trend, and it's going to where we have states that are now criminalizing. I've never seen this in my years, of course, of practice. So I've been practicing immigration law for 10 years. And in my years, I've never seen immigrants be criminalized like this. And even if a state, for example, Arizona tried this back in the day and the Supreme Court shut them down. But now we're seeing a different type of approach here, and so it's not a trend that's going to stop for now. So we have Florida, we have Texas, and now we have Georgia that's passing very restrictive anti-immigration laws that are criminalizing immigrants and making it very hard to assist undocumented immigrants here. It's only going to continue. So this is where I say, make a move. Let's talk. Let's talk about possible solutions here, and I can advise further. All right. So take care. I'll see you tomorrow. So I usually come on around lunchtime, but my schedule has been erratic. So this is why I'm on this late. But as I said before, follow me. And when you follow me or subscribe on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, follow me on Facebook. And when I go live, you will get notification. And then you can, if you're available, you can hop on and you can ask some questions. All right, I have one more here. Can I still adjust my status if IRS has my passport? I'd applied for an ITIN number. It was not sent to me. Neither was my passport sent back. So you should always keep copies of your documents. If you have copies of your documents, you can still apply, because the immigration, they're not asking you to send your original documents. So while you're applying for the ITIN, just make sure you keep, before you send off your documents to the IRS, just make sure you take copies of your entire passport and other important documents you're sending off. And you should be able to then apply for immigration benefits at the same time. All right, so that's it for me. Have a great day, everyone. I will see you tomorrow. Bye bye.